Who's the scariest person you've met at your job? I'm a chaplain at a maximum security prison, so my bar for scary dudes is pretty high. But then I met Kyle, who was serving a life sentence for taking a life. Sometimes inmates want to talk about their case, sometimes they don't. Kyle was definitely the latter, and instead talked to me about his family and how they were coping with his absence. He told me touching and hilarious stories about his mother, like how her baking always started a fire. Kyle was witty, polite, and soft-spoken. He reminded me of my nephew, and I started to really look forward to our sessions. I'd bring cards, and we'd play a game called Hand and Foot that his grandmother taught him, and he taught me. I never won. He'd ask about my life outside of work, and remember details that I told him. He knew I had a family, so he'd ask how my daughter's soccer game went, or if my son finally figured out how to find the area of a pyramid. The more we talked, the more it started to really bother me that Kyle would die in prison. I just knew in my gut that there was no way he could have taken a life. This was a good person. One day, I asked Kyle if he wanted me to look into his case to see if there was anything I could do. He seemed really touched that I cared, and he said I had his permission. He made the necessary calls to his lawyer, and I got access to his file. What I found changed my life forever. Kyle didn't just end someone. He tasted meat too. The victim was a little girl the same age as my daughter. I tore about that file, looking for any shred of doubt, trying to convince myself there was a possibility Kyle had been wrongly accused, but the case was airtight. There were witnesses, a confession, DNA evidence, and crime scene photos that still make me want to vomit when I think about them. The jury deliberated for less than an hour before finding him guilty. The man I'd play cards with, the man I'd grown close with, the man I'd told about my family, was a real-life Hannibal Lecter. The next time I went to see Kyle, he asked if I'd look at his file yet. When I choked out the word yes, his face broke into the widest, most unsettling smile I'd ever seen, and he threw his head back and started laughing. I still work at the prison, and I still try to give every man the benefit of the doubt, but ever since meeting Kyle, I keep a lot more emotional distance between myself and the inmates. And now, if they ask me if I have children, I lie.